What's up? Nick Ehrlich here at Sweat Performance, and today we are going to talk about redefining our goals, about what we really want and how we can get there. So too often when we set goals for ourselves with losing weight or losing body fat, we call it weight loss. So today we're going to get into rebranding our weight loss goals to make them more attainable and more clear. So today we're going to talk about what we really want and how we can get there. So our goals for today, first and foremost, are to understand two different eating systems and to identify common exercise mistakes and pitfalls that you're making that are preventing you from attaining the physique that you want. Okay? We are also going to dispel the myths of weight training about leading to bulk and weight gain that scare a lot of women away, or people who are trying to lose weight away from working out. And we're going to really get a game plan. Okay? So today we're going to rebrand our goals. We're going to get a game plan as to how to do so, and we're going to make sure that we're streamlined and focused for what we really want. So usable definitions for this presentation today. The first thing is anabolic. Okay, now anabolic is a state where the body is constantly promoting new muscle growth and burning fat for fuel. So we're going to call this anabolic state an ideal state. It's something that we want to create. I think you and I would both agree that if you were in a state where you were always creating and promoting lean muscle tissue and burning body fat for fuel, that would be a great state to be in. And that is the opposite of catabolic, which is a state where the body is indiscriminately burning any kind of tissue we can get its hands on due to a caloric deficit. So this is your body is burning body fat, it's burning muscle tissue, it's going after all these different things. All right, and that's not a great state. Aerobic is a type of activity that's in the presence of oxygen, and anaerobic is without the presence of oxygen. We're going to get more into what those are later on, but I wanted to put those out there. And then BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate. So these are all some useful things that you don't need to write down, but just put them in the back of your mind because we're going to get to them later in the presentation. So first things first is my story. I don't like to talk about me a whole lot because this is about you specifically, but I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory about where I'm from, and where I'm from is being a chubby kid. All right, so I was a chubby kid growing up. I played sports, but it was more like I wrestled in the winter time because at wrestling there was a snack bar and you could get food at it. And I swam in the summertime, and that's because a lot of times at swim meets you could get ice cream afterwards. And so my athletic endeavors were really more in the pursuit of hot pretzels and bomb pops than they were really in like the attainment of any kind of like physical perfection. And so I was an overweight kid. I ate out of control. I avoided any kind of physical activity, and I was also a very tortured kind of a soul. I really wasn't a very happy person. And so when I was 16, this is a true story. When I was 16, I had my girlfriend at the time who I was head over heels in love with. It was my first love. I was like absolutely gaga over this girl. She broke up with me. It was on my 16th birthday. It was at dinner. It was at a restaurant, and it was with my family present. Okay, so I will go out and I will wager that I had the worst 16th birthday of anybody. If you think you had a worse 16th birthday than I did, write in. I would love to know about it, but I doubt it because I think mine is impossible to top. So after that, I was absolutely devastated, and I went mentally to a really dark place. And I had a lot of depression. I had a lot of suicidal type of things going through my mind, which sadly is not uncommon for people that age. But I was in a really dark place. And I remember I don't know what it was. I just got out of bed one day and I was just like, I can't be this way anymore. I can't feel this miserable. I can't look this miserable. I can't be this guy. And I started working out. So working out and eating right for me is about more than the superficial. It is about the fact that this saved my life when I was a 16-year-old. This is something that I have built. All of my beliefs, all of my character, everything that I've done in my life has been about this transition and where I've gone from that. So when you guys hear me talk about fitness or nutrition or things like that, it's important that you know that this is coming from the heart. This is something that saved my life, and I think I can save other people too. And so that's why I'm glad that you're watching this presentation, because it's very special for me to be able to share this stuff with you guys. So that being said, this is about who's exhausted. This is about who is tired of trying to lose weight, trying to get in shape, getting a couple weeks, getting a month under your belt, making some results, and then seeing those results slow down to a point where you're no longer getting any kind of progress in what you're trying to do. So this is about those people who are tired of failing in their fitness quest. So if you're one of those people, I'm glad you're with me today, because I'm glad to present this information to you because I think it's going to help. So we're going to talk about the 5% right now. Now, it's kind of a ballpark figure, but really only about 5% of gym goers are like really successful in their quest for fitness. All right, so when you think about the 5%, I want you to think about your gym or your running loop or wherever you work out. Maybe you're talking about people at the pool, maybe you're talking about people at the beach, but we're talking about that 5%, the people that are in really great shape, the people that you look at and you're like, man, that guy or that girl really has it. That's the body that I want. That's what I want to achieve. Those are the 5%. They're those people that we look at and we're like, man, those people are awesome. That can never be me. They're the people we envy. They're the people we admire. And we look at them and we think that that stuff's out of reach for us. We don't think it's attainable. We think like that person knows something I don't, or they're doing something that I can't, or they have time that I don't have, or they know something that I don't know. And the fact of the matter is that we resign ourselves to this thinking, this as good as it gets type thinking, where we think that those people are the 5%. I got to get as good as I can get, but I can never achieve those kind of results because that's just not in the cards for me. And I felt that way when I was a kid. I felt that way for a long time, and that was one of the things that lent itself to me being in such a really dark, depressed place because it was that state of kind of learned helplessness. Now, learned helplessness is this psychological principle. I do have a psych degree. That is my background, so I let a little psychology nerdiness kind of sprinkle itself in. The Skinner box. B.F. Skinner was this psychologist who did this experiment with this box, and he put a rat in the box. Now, there were rumors that he put dogs in it. There were rumors that he put his kid in it at one point. I can't speak to that. We'll just talk about what the Skinner box was. So it was a box, had a wall in the middle of it, had two sides to the box. Now, it would put an animal in the box. Animal would sit there and they would electrify the floor of one side of the box, and the animal would jump over the wall to the other side of the box to avoid the electric shock. So then what they did was they started turning it on different sides, and the animal would always move away from the shock. But when they turned it on both sides simultaneously, what happened is that the animal started jumping over a couple times until it realized that it couldn't get it to go anywhere where it wouldn't be shocked, and so it just kind of laid down and allowed itself to be electrocuted. So yeah, it's terrible. I know. B.F. Skinner was a horrible person, probably. I don't know him personally, but the box is bad. All right. That learned helplessness applies itself to the same situation where we have tried over and over and over again to get in shape, to get healthy, to lose weight, to gain more muscle, to get stronger, to just feel better. And we get to a certain point and that electricity kicks in on our feet and we try to struggle over to get away from it, but we just never get to a point where we can actually feel good about something. So that state of learned helplessness with this very sad puppy, all right, that's what we're experiencing a lot of times. We get a little bit of result, we get a little bit of relief, and then we realize we just can't escape it. So we just kind of sit, we just resign to this thinking that like, this is as good as it's going to get for me. This is the best shape I'm going to be in, but that's not true. Okay. So we're going to talk about two methods of weight loss nutrition right now. All right. So the first is economics-based eating. Now it's important for you to know my father is an economist, my mother is a scientist. So I have learned everything my entire life in terms of economics or science. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about right now with these two eating systems. Now, economics-based eating is encouraged by things like FitPal or other kind of food logging apps or computer apps or phone apps or whatever kind of logs you have. But it focuses on lowering your caloric intake and creating a deficit. So every day you will be burning more calories than you consume in order to lose weight. It preaches things like moderation is key, but that's not necessarily the case, all right? So then you have this chemistry, this biologically based eating system, this more scientific based eating system. So a lot of times these diets are things like the paleo diet or low carb diets or things like that. And what it does is it focuses on removing foods that spike blood sugar levels and lead to gaining body fat, all right? And this is about understanding your genetics, understanding what we as human beings need to consume to fuel ourselves, how we were built to bring in certain types of foods, not others. It gets rid of this moderation is key thing, and it talks about more like what you're eating is the most important thing, where economics-based says how much you're eating is the most important thing. There's truth to both of these, but there's one that's advantageous in my opinion. So it's important that we understand that there are these two different models, and I'm basing them selfishly on how I was raised by my parents. Now, the problem with economics eating, all right, is that it doesn't allow us to understand how foods interact with us in our body. It kind of leads us to say that all food is the same, a calorie is a calorie, and it all kind of goes in, you know what I mean? The other thing is that it leads to skinny fat. Now I have a picture of Kid Rock here. You'll also notice in this picture that he is somewhere with Russell Simmons and Paris Hilton. This is a very odd grouping of people. I'm curious about what was happening that led to these three people hanging out and having drinks, but I digress. We have Kid Rock, right? Kid Rock is a great example of skinny fat. Kid Rock is a skinny person, okay? He is slim. He probably wears a medium t-shirt, maybe a small if he wants to stretch it out. I don't know what his sponsors that give him t-shirts give him. I'm assuming it's a schmedium. But the fact of the matter is that while he is a slim guy, he has no muscle tone. He has no build that would make you look at him with a shirt off and be like, man, I want to look like that guy, all right? Now, the key offender for skinny fat is Jared from Subway. And because I don't know, obviously, I'm expecting this to get so big that I get in some kind of copyright trouble with Subway. So we're gonna call him Schmerid from Train Station Sandwiches, okay? So Schmerid from Train Station Sandwiches, the whole ad campaign, if you're as old as I am or older, and you remember the whole ad campaign was Jared was this huge, titanically fat guy, and he started walking every day and eating Subway sandwiches, and he got really slim, but he didn't get slim. That was the point. Jared doesn't do commercials with his shirt off, all right? They let, guys like their baseball players and their boxers and Michael Strahan, those guys get to take their shirt off in the commercials. Jared doesn't, all right? Because he is not a slim guy. He is a smaller, fat guy. He underwent economics eating. He started burning a lot of calories and eating less than he was eating. So his body lost a ton of weight. And don't get me wrong, he lost a ton of body fat, but he didn't create this physique that people want to look at. He didn't create a physique that you could put on the cover of a muscle magazine. He just became a smaller fat guy from a big fat guy, all right? And that's the problem with economics eating, is that it creates smaller fat people. And then when we pair that with weight loss exercise, now we have something really interesting. So when we're exercising to lose weight, and I want you to think about New Year's resolution people or the gym on January 1st or 2nd and all those type of things. When you walk in the gym on January 1st or 2nd, I will wager that every cardio equipment is taken, every elliptical, every stepper, every treadmill, every bike, because people get on there and like, all right, time to do this, and they start killing their cardio. Do they focus on weights? No. Do they focus on resistance training? Absolutely not. They just do this stuff and then an hour of abs every day. So it's focused on that type of exercise. And the emphasis is about calories burned over effective exercise. People just talk about burning calories. Well, I burned 600 calories on the stepper. I burned 700 calories in Zumba class. They talk about their calories burned. But it prevents the growth of lean tissue and eventually leads to kind of a loss of effectiveness. Now, what I want you to think about for this are fat marathoners, okay? People who run marathons but don't have these kind of showcase bodies. That's because they've gotten good at running. Running no longer is an effective workout for them to burn calories, create lean muscle, and burn body fat because they've gotten good enough at doing it, okay? So we don't want exercise that we can get good at and stop burning calories. We don't want a diet that doesn't allow us to support lean muscle tissue. And so when you put those two things together, that leads to a really, really frustrating situation, all right? And this is a vicious cycle of weight loss that we go into. So my short-term success means that I get in the gym, I'm eating less calories than I'm burning. I'm burning a ton of calories when I'm working out. So maybe initially that first week, I'm seeing 5 to 10 pound weight loss. Maybe I'm really killing it and I see that happening, but that stuff is gonna slow, all right? And then I'm gonna become obsessed with it. That's when I'm gonna be checking the scale every day, twice a day, when I wake up, when I go to bed, and I'm really gonna get obsessed with the scale, all right? The other thing is that I'm gonna burn out eventually. And the best time that burnout to happen is Super Bowl weekend. Let me tell you why. Super Bowl weekends in February, first weekend of February typically. That means that people have gotten in the gym since January 1st, January 2nd. They're eating less, they're exercising more, they're losing weight, but their results are starting to slow. Okay, so now they're tired. Now they're tired of going to the gym. They're tired of eating less. They're feeling frustrated. They're feeling tired. They're feeling worn out. And they're feeling like, why the hell am I doing all this stuff? I'm not losing any more weight. So Super Bowl weekend comes in and they're gonna go to a Super Bowl party. And you know what? Forget my diet today. I'm just gonna eat what I wanna eat. I'm gonna feel good about it. I'm not gonna beat myself up. So you go and you eat like a pig. You eat like a pig wishes it could eat if it had thumbs and hands to get food into its mouth faster than eating it out of a trough. And then on the way home, you stop for more food. But then the problem is that you start feeling so crappy after that, that leads to that week and then that month, and the next thing you know, you can't do it anymore, all right? You're too tired of working out, you're too burnt out on it, and Also, this method of eating, killing it on the treadmill, not taking a lot of calories, this whole lifestyle can lead to injury. You can get worn out ankles, worn out knees, hips, things from running on a treadmill or elliptical constantly without encouraging your muscle mass at the same time. So this is like a really, really, really vicious cycle, all right? So what are we really after? Are we after weight loss or are we after something else? What do we really want? Now, the women right here in this slide, these are the same people, okay? This one was her running a marathon, and this other one was her after a really great kind of weight training and fat loss regimen, right? I'm not saying she's in bad shape in the marathon. She's running a marathon, for God's sake. Clearly, she's in great shape. And if I was a better human being, I would remember this person's name because she's an author, but I'm not that great a person, all right? On the other side, she's working out. She's rocking a kettlebell right there. There's some barbells behind her. Those are ostensibly something she's using. Who knows? It looks very tough, all right? But if you ask the average person, which of these two people, and they're the same person at different phases, which would you rather look like? I'm betting you they would rather look like the person in the sports bra than the person running, all right? So what are we really after? Are we after weight loss or are we after something else? And we're after something else, really, when you think about it. It's time to change the game. It's time to rebrand our goals from weight loss to fat loss, all right? Are you looking to lose weight or are you looking to lose fat? Are you looking to weigh a certain amount? Or do you think you want to weigh a certain amount because you actually want to look like something? You're visualizing a way you're going to look at that weight. And you think when you get there, it's going to happen. But it's not going to happen because you're just going to be a weight. You wouldn't have considered how you look. So we got to start training for fat loss. We got to start training to be lean. We got to embrace this lean life revolution that we're talking about and start thinking about lowering our body fat levels, promoting our musculature and our lean body mass, and changing our game, changing our outlook, rebranding our goals. So for the rest of this, we're going to stop using the term weight loss. When I do say weight loss, we're talking specifically about body fat. I don't want to lose weight. I want to lose fat, okay? So moving on from that, that's how we're going to go forward for the rest of this presentation. And now I want you guys to understand BMR, basal metabolic rate, because that's going to be really key into losing body fat. So blah, 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 blah. There's a huge scientific definition. That's fine. But if we really dumb down BMR, it is how many calories you burn every day at rest. So if I were to wake up this morning, boom, hit my alarm, lay there for 24 hours. My BMR is how many calories my body burns just to fuel my basic body systems. And that's actually a pretty decent amount of calories when you do the math on it, okay? So we're gonna give you some other important information because this stuff's all gonna become handy. This is gonna be like a cool mystery where all these clues are gonna put together, all right? Or something like that, go with me. So a pound of body fat burns 4 calories a day at rest. That means all that body fat needs to maintain itself is 4 calories, all right? A pound of muscle can burn up to 50 calories a day at rest. That means the more muscle you have versus the more fat you have, the more calories you are burning on a day-to-day basis. So let's say you lose 5 pounds of fat and you add 5 pounds of muscle. You're burning an additional 230 calories a day, doing nothing, just being you. So if we went by the old goal of losing weight, if you looked on the scale 2 weeks later and you weighed the same amount, you would call that a loss. But if I'm going by this and I'm saying, well, you may have lost 0 pounds, but you gained 5 pounds of muscle and you lost 5 pounds of fat, all of a sudden that's a huge win for us. We're increasing the amount of calories we're burning a day, we're increasing our basal metabolic rate, and we're increasing the likelihood that we're going to continue to create an anabolic state, all right? That's great stuff. And that's why this stuff is so important versus just indiscriminately losing weight. So we're going to talk about hacking our biological system. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to embrace the duh. Okay? So embracing the duh means looking at the things that simply do not work. What doesn't work? What is taking me away from my goal? You know, I always like to joke with people, are we moving towards the goal or are we moving away from it? Because you can't just stand still. So you got to look at the foods that are getting in the way of you getting where you want. And you've got to understand the roles of foods in the body and what simply does not work. You may love muffins, but muffins are not getting you lean. You can slice that any way you want to slice it. You can rationalize eating it any way you want to rationalize it. But at the end of the day, muffins are taking you away from your goal, not towards it. Okay? Next, we have to get rid of those foods. And at the same time, we have to get rid of those training methods that are sabotaging my results. And that may be hard to do. I worked with a woman once who was so in love with cupcakes, she just wouldn't give them up. She wanted to have one a day, and then she wanted to have one a week, she wanted to have one a month. But the bottom line was I had to get to her, it's not helping you. Cupcakes are not your friend. They're not supporting you. It's just just a food. Some people just love getting on the elliptical for 2 hours a day. They can't think of a day without doing that. But when you're doing that, you're not letting your body gain any kind of lean mass. You're not letting your body have a productive workout. You're just burning calories. So you got to get rid of that stuff. We got to take the stuff that doesn't work and we got to kick it out the door. Don't let it hit you on the way out. We got to get rid of the bad stuff. And then we got to raise our BMR. We got to raise our basal metabolic rate through strength and circuit training, specifically anaerobic in capacity. All right. So this is how we're going to hack our system. This is how we're really going to get effective fat loss versus indiscriminate weight loss. So a lot of times people come up to me and they're like, Nick, I want to start eating healthy. You got to give me a diet, man. You got to help me out. You got to help me with this because I don't know how to do this on my own. And I'm like, great. Here we go. Dan John is a great fitness writer. The guy's as common sense as it gets. And this is a nutrition quiz he gave once at a presentation I was at, and I thought it was really, really great. So I'm going to start putting foods up on the screen, and all you got to do is follow along and say if they're good or not. So we have chicken. We have broccoli. We have green beans. We have salmon. We have almonds. We have apples. We have lettuce. We have avocados, okay? Boom, that's one side of it, all right? Now on the other side, we've got pizza, we've got chicken nuggets, we've got beer, we've got birthday cake, we've got ice cream, we've got Swedish fish, we have Cheetos, and we have Sprite. Which column is healthy, which column isn't? I'll give you a moment. Okay, obviously it's the chicken column, all right? I've misspelled avocados. I apologize for that. Let's get past that together, okay? That category is the food we want. It's lean protein, it's fruits, it's vegetables, it's healthy fats. On the other side, we've got all this crap food that there's no way that you can justify ice cream or Cheetos being in any way healthy. So what's the point? The point is you know what good foods are. You have read it. We have bombarded you as the fitness society with what's good and what's bad. You see it in magazines, you see it in newspapers, you see it on television, you see it online. You know what good foods are. You know when you put something on your fork whether it's good for you or not. You can rationalize it. You can say, oh, well, this isn't as bad for me as this, but that's fine. You know, a small bullet isn't as dangerous as a large bullet, but it will still kill you probably, all right? I'm not an authority on guns. I don't know if that's true. Bullets are different sizes, right? All right, let's move forward. So the point is you know what healthy foods are. We got to start eating them. So we have to embrace eating that promotes lean tissue growth and body fat loss. So what we have here is the food pyramid from Mark Sisson's Primal Blueprint. It is a great kind of paleo eating type book. I recommend it for people if it's something you're interested in. I am borrowing that from him today. Okay? Now, this kind of eating is going to promote the intake of proteins, vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, tubers, things like that, things that are very paleo, things that are very low carb, generally not processed. It is going to, this kind of eating is going to encourage you to have prepared meals at properly scheduled intervals, okay? It is going to time nutrients to ensure maximal results. What types of foods are you eating at what times in the day that's going to make this better? And then we're going to understand the gray area in this new eating plan. So a mock eating day, so I'm going to put up an eating schedule using those kind of nutrition principles, and you're going to see the difference, okay? Now, my breakfast is going to be 3 to 4 eggs and an avocado. A snack after that would be an apple and some almonds. Then lunch would be a large salad with chicken and maybe some light olive oil as a dressing. My post-workout shake, if I work out in the afternoons, is going to be a whey protein shake with a banana. And then my dinner is going to be salmon, broccoli, and asparagus, okay? So this eating day is doing the following. 1, it's getting me lean protein at every meal. Eggs, chicken, whey protein, salmon. It's giving me healthy fats throughout the day. Almonds, olive oil, salmon. It's giving me carbs at the types of day that I need carbohydrates, which specifically here is going to be in the morning with my apple and then in my post-workout with my banana, all right? Because my body needs a little bit of carbohydrate to get around and it needs some carbohydrate to refuel and repair after you're done working out. So this is a good mock eating day with that kind of principle in mind. This is a day that calorically might not be as low as when you are, doing a 1,300 calorie a day crash diet. But this type of eating is supporting lean mass. It's promoting the burning of body fat for fuel. It's full of vitamins and minerals. It's got good fiber, good protein, good fat. It's a great day. And this helps me with my BMR promotion. This helps me increase my basal metabolic rate, which we're going to talk about right now. So the BMR Promotion Cycle, all right, is basically like this. So we have strength training focused on high intensity training for short duration, all right? When I do that, next, my lean mass increases and my body fat starts to drop, okay? When I go to the next thing, my BMR increases due to the fact that I've created lean tissue, all right? And my body fat's dropping, I'm getting more muscle, I'm getting less body fat. Then, when I implement those eating methods that encourage the growth and the maintaining of lean body mass, all right, and increase the likelihood of body fat burning for fuel, I then increase my basal metabolic rate again by eating early and often with those kind of principles in mind, and this circle repeats itself. So when we go back to those 5% of people, they're the people who are doing this stuff. They're the people who are observing these kind of rules, thinking about what they're eating, not how much they're eating, thinking about when they're eating it, not when they're, just what they're gonna have over the course of the day and how they're going to burn more than they take in. They are observing this BMR promotion cycle. So now that we know that stuff, we know that that type of eating increases muscle mass, decreases body fat, and that's going to lead to that look that we want. Now we have to re-intention our training to match that, okay? So metabolic training is the type of training that is going to have you do intense exercise for short periods of time, typically done in supersets or circuits, and it's going to really rev your metabolism, all right? So again, it's high intensity circuit training with minimal rest periods in between exercises. These workouts are going to focus a lot on strength gain. Anytime we're touching weights to gain strength. You cannot tone a muscle, you cannot reshape a muscle. That is impossible. Muscles are shaped like they're shaped, like biceps are shaped like this, shoulders are shaped like this, glutes are shaped like that. You can't reshape them. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller, but you can't reshape them, all right? So let's get toning out the window. When we say toning up, we mean getting lean, and that means increasing our lean mass, decreasing body fat. Now, you want to push the pace through these workouts and minimize rest periods to keep the heart rate elevated. That's metabolic training. That's how we do that. And when you do that metabolic training, you need to incorporate some anaerobic training to maximize fat burning. So we're going to give you some examples of aerobic and anaerobic training right now. Aerobic training would be in the presence of oxygen. So this is jogging, this is biking, this is swimming, it's walking, and it's burning calories steadily and increasing your heart rate only slightly, all right? Meanwhile, with anaerobic training, without the presence of oxygen, we're gonna be doing something like a sweat performance boot camp, for instance, or we're gonna be weight training in a circuit fashion, or we're gonna be doing a sweat performance boot camp, or maybe we're doing a boxing or kickboxing workout, or maybe we're doing a sweat performance boot camp. Plug, 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 okay? Things like this are going to give you the most bang for your buck when you're training, all right? They're going to raise your heart rate maximally while at the same time burning calories to your body's real potential for calorie burning, all right? So we see the aerobic training. This is all stuff I can do pretty passively. I'm not really worried about getting on the bike for an hour. I'm not really worried about walking on a treadmill for an hour or going for a jog. This other stuff is hard to do. We want that. We want the workouts that are hard to do. We want the workouts that are going to push us the most so we can get in and out of the gym really quick. So we're going to talk about that right now, the benefits of metabolic training. Now these are the benefits of metabolic training outside of the BMR promotion cycle that we put up on the other slide. So first of all, it's going to increase my VO2 max and my cardiovascular capacity. When I jack up my heart rate and let it recover and jack up my heart rate and let it recover, what I'm doing is I am increasing my cardiovascular capacity. I'm making my heart work and I'm getting it stronger. It is a muscle, all right? I'm going to have an improved hormonal profile and increasing lipolysis, which is how I'm burning body fat for fuel. It's going to promote that happening, creating an ideal state for burning body fat. Now, the afterburn effect after you train metabolically means that if you do the treadmill, let's say you do the treadmill and you really haul buns on the treadmill, let's say you burn 650 calories or 700 calories in that hour. When you get off that treadmill, it takes a remarkably short period of time for your body to stop burning calories effectively. Whereas if we do the metabolic training, you can burn calories at an increased rate for up to 36 hours after your training session. That is something that we want to do. We want to make sure we're raising our metabolism. We need to do that. That's how we do that's how we re-intention our goals, and that's how we get what we want. Now, it also decreases my workout time. People will say, I don't have time to work out. Well, that's great. You can do a metabolic workout in 25 to 30 minutes. You can do it in your basement with exercises, all right? And you could still get that same effect. You don't need to go to the gym, and it's going to get you done faster, all right? And then it's gonna increase our muscles used. When I do a pure bodybuilding workout or I get on the treadmill, I'm gonna be working one muscle at a time, maybe two, but with this, I can touch all my muscles, really make sure that I'm touching everything. I'm getting stronger everywhere, maximizing my fat burning and my calorie burning and getting in and out of the gym as fast as possible with the most efficient workout possible, all right? So what did we talk about today? We talked about rebranding your goals, no longer talking about weight loss. Weight loss is a terrible goal because it doesn't really define anything. Let's say you want to lose 5 pounds because you think when you lose 5 pounds, you're going to look a certain way. You're going to lose 5 pounds, you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to say, nope, doesn't look like right yet. Let's lose another 5 pounds. You're going to keep doing that over and over again, okay? Because losing 5 pounds, I mean, sure, it's a goal, but it doesn't really define what I want. Right? So I want you to redefine your goals. I want you to change how you think about losing weight to losing fat. I want you to get rid of the scale, throw it out, throw it in the attic, do whatever you want to do with it. I don't know, I'm not a cop, do whatever you want with your scale. But the fact of the matter is that I want you to start going by the mirror. I want you to start thinking about how you're eating, if it's promoting lean mass, not just how much you're eating. I want you to think about how you're working out. Is it burning body fat? Is it pushing me out of my comfort zone? Is it taxing me? Is it really making me feel like I'm working out hard? Or is it just something I'm doing passively? I want you to start considering that stuff, thinking about some of these things, rebranding your goals so you can get the body that you want. I want that for you. Have a great day.